This is probably one of the most disappointing, embarrassing, and just frustrating losses I have ever seen in boxing history. No, I'm not talking about Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather, although that's a conversation for another day. No, in fact, I'm talking about Deji versus Vinny Hacker. So, at the time of recording this, there's a boxing match called YouTubers versus TikToks, in which YouTubers and TikToks battle it out to basically settle their beef. So one of the YouTubers and TikTokers that were set up was YouTuber Deji, who is a gaming YouTuber who is brothers with who you may know as KSI. Vinny Hacker, I don't know who he is, but I just know that he's some TikToker that does TikTok dances with Bryce Hall. Though he has a girlfriend, or I think he has a girlfriend, I'm not sure. But it was probably one of the most disappointing losses because Deji lost. The YouTuber lost. Now, if you know me, I don't like TikTok. I don't like TikTokers. I just don't like that platform. I think it's very cringy, and I just don't think that it's not for me. But to each his own, whoever likes it or hates it. But it's not embarrassing that I lost to a TikToker. It's embarrassing that he lost to someone who did not train. So let me explain. Deji has had boxing experience. He's fought a few people before. He's fought Jake Paul primarily. So he does have boxing experience, and he has. And granted, he did lose to Jake Paul, but he did come back as supposedly stronger and better at his boxing techniques and whatnot. Vinny Hacker, according to like YouTube news and like stuff that my friends tell me, Vinny Hacker is just seen like partying out in like Miami or just doing obviously TikToks in his own house or whatever. And there's only like one video I believe of him like fighting or training, but in my opinion, it didn't look like he was like putting enough power. It just looked like he was just tapping the punching bag or whatever those pads that the coaches wear or whatever. I don't know. But if you see Deji, you could see that he's like jump roping and like trying to increase his stamina, and he's like training with I don't know what his name is. It's not Vidal. It's not the one that KSI trained. Although they did train in the past, but this one's a different trainer. Either way, like it did look like he was, doing well. But for some reason, Deji lost to someone who did not train and who didn't take this very seriously until the very last minute. So here's how he lost. Sorry, I just got dust on my keyboard. So I didn't watch the fight. Well, I did watch the fight, but I didn't pay money. I saw it through an illegal website that I will not disclose. And as I was watching Deji and Vinny Hacker's portion of the fight, it was pretty solid. Round one, Deji Deji had it on. He was throwing out punches at Vinny Hacker, and it looked like Vinny Hacker was taking a beating. And then round one concludes, and round two starts. We still see Deji like kicking some A and just beating the ever living crap out of Vinny. And he even cornered him a few times until of course, the referee had to separate them. But towards the end of round two, you could see Deji starting to go a little bit slower with the punches, and Vinny Hacker was able to dodge them now because obviously Deji's slower. And it's kind of that concern me is like, okay, let's hopefully this doesn't like do bad. So then second round ends, and I still have high hopes because Deji is starting to beat up Vinny, and Vinny's starting to, somewhat lose confidence in his fight based on his facial expressions every single time he's getting punched in the face. So the third round starts, but then all of a sudden, as they were fighting, Deji just like falls to the ground. He wasn't even hit. He was just standing normally when like Vinny Hacker was like a few feet away from him. Even if you were to reach out, he could not punch him. But for some reason, Deji just falls to his knees, and obviously the referee like checks this out, and it looks to me that Deji is actually tired, like he's about to pass out from exhaustion. And I was like, oh gosh, it's not going very well. So, but then Deji still has his head in the game and he continues to fight. But then Vinny takes advantage of the fact that Deji's like starting to fall down, and he pushes Deji, like he knocks down Deji one time. but then Deji still managed to get back up, and he's like still in the fight. But then the third time, Vinny Hacker knocked Deji into the corner. He just like the referee called it. He rang the bell, and unfortunately, Deji lost. And I think what's more devastating about this is that if you read the comments of Deji's latest videos or videos involving his fight, everyone's saying the same thing. They're very disappointed and like they're very upset that Deji lost to not to a TikToker out of all people. And I will admit, Deji also was not in the greatest physique compared to Vinny. Deji still had that dad bod even when he fought Jake Paul over 2 years ago. Vinny looked somewhat in shape. I mean, he had like abs and a yeah, he had a six pack and some sort of muscle design, but Deji got that dad bod and it didn't look like he worked out. But I mean, he did work out, but it didn't look like he was training hard enough. And yeah, based on that conclusion, I just have no words to at least I just don't have the words to comprehend or explain how that loss ever happened. But one thing I can say is that hopefully Deji can learn from this and to train harder and better than before and probably focus more on his stamina rather than his punches because yes, he was knocking out those hard punches and beating up Vinny very badly in a good way, but unfortunately he didn't last long enough to withstand Vinny's counterattacks. But yeah, that's about it.